Father's Day to the Moviescramble daddy.
Yeah. I don't have any of my children around today at all, so it's not weird, because usually Julie's around, but she's traveling between Boston and Miami just now because she's over
Oh, that's right.
at the football and stuff. So yeah, she said it was mental. She said Toronto was brilliant. Where they were staying in New York was like crack alley. It was terrible. It was the very north of Brooklyn. It was between Brooklyn and Crown Heights.
Right. Okay.
Says it was just mental. Says, like, you know how like here you get junkies in the street and they're usually just completely out of it most of the time and they don't really bother anybody. Says no, they're all really angry there. So they're all just shouting and screaming and everything. So they were fine. They got through okay. Obviously there was a big group of them. It's like 12, 14 of them. So they were all right.
Safety in numbers, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a great time in New York. But then they went to Boston. Julie's lab. The train to Boston. The train was like about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Go to the train station at 9 o'clock. There's a pipe band outside the station. It's like, fuck's sake, man.
Oh, the videos have been amazing. Like all the parades, and what's been really funny is like all the Boston bartenders who are like completely shocked that they've been drank dry. Essentially, like there's no beer left in the city. And I saw a parade that they'd put a Scotland flag on a duck, and the duck was leading the parade.
It's totally mental. Yeah, she'd sent me messenger video. She's actually like live one. She says, "Look, I'm not going to be on for long, but just look at this." And she'd just scan around, and it's just thousands of Scottish people. And this wasn't even like match day. This was just a normal day. And so yeah, it was really good. So they've just finished up in Boston, and they're going to Miami this morning. So she said she'd give me a phone later to wish me happy Father's Day. So, yeah,
and to let you know, I assume that she's arrived safely.
Yeah, she does that anyway. Yeah, she deliberately set up that Find My on the iPhone so that we could all see each other, because she keeps every time she comes down to the house and we're not there. She says, "Where are you? Why are you not at the house?" Really indignant and everything, you know. It's not just the keys. No, it's not.
You're supposed to be here at all times.
It's just I think she just likes the comfort of knowing that we're here. So when we're away or anything, and she comes down to the house, she leaves all the lights on and everything. She says, "I don't like it. It's not nice when there's nobody here, you know." I like the house being empty, you know, but obviously she doesn't.
Same. I mean, I've always been happy with my own company. So for the only thing I would say is if I've watched something scary, I try not to do that if I'm going to be in by myself, because then you have to make the run up the stairs so that the monsters don't follow you. Yes.
I remember the first time I watched Aliens. I was watching it during the day in a flat that I was in at the time, and I was actually shit scared watching that. It was almost like going behind the couch and hiding kind of idea, because I was like, totally getting freaked out by it. Yeah, just because I'd never seen it before, and it was kind of like, oh my god, this is mental, you know.
I love stuff like that. Or like if we've been out to see a scary film and we're coming back in, I always send Chris in first.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's got to protect. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. I see you're representing today.
Yes, and this is Chris's old top because I got him the new one for Christmas. I actually went to have I couldn't remember which one he had, and I realised that he's actually got hundreds of Spain tops. Like he's got the yellow one from last year, the old white one, several red ones. So I thought I'll pinch this one and he can wear the new one. Although we've come to the solid conclusion that I'm a Jonah, because see the Scotland, the Germany, and the Sweden game that I didn't watch, they all won. But then I watched the Spain game, they drew nothing each with Cape Verde, who they should have trounced. Scotland get beat, obviously. Sweden, that was a cricket score last night. And then I watched the first half of the Germany game and they were 1-0 down. And I was like, wait, I'm going to go to bed. And they actually end up winning that 2-1. So I don't think I should watch the Spain game tonight. I think it's me that's the problem.
Oh dear. But they did well in the second half, Ninja. They did a lot better. It was quite an interesting game. I was a wee bit sick of the Côte d'Ivoire because any time they fell down for 5 minutes. And, it's like, and you wouldn't have seen one in the second half. A guy got a hamstring injury. He was right on the sideline, and he kicked the ball out, and he actually went out of play, and then he clutched his leg and fell back in on the pitch, so that they had to stop play while they got him sorted. And it was like, really, it took a couple of minutes, and then he gets substituted, so just wasted time. And this is when they were still 1-up, and you're going, really,
that's really annoyed me, because I felt like in the Scotland game, the referee, I mean, that was a penalty, and he was not given anything. And then the first half of the Germany game, I think it was either was it the first or second goal that was disallowed, the goalie went down for ages, and they showed you about 5 different angles, and he wasn't touched. Like, there was actually no physical contact, but he was clutching his face and rolling around on the ground and couldn't get up, and that sort of stuff just pisses me off, because it's not fair play, is it? It's kind of like cheating.
Yeah, I've noticed that for quite a lot of the games, when somebody goes down in a heap and the referee doesn't think it's foul, just plays on, and sometimes you've got 2 or 3 bodies. It's like a mass shooting or something, with these bodies just lying about in the ground, and the players are just having to play around them. And their own team don't even put the ball out of play; they just keep playing on. It's crazy, it's interesting.
It's been I think it's been quite a good World Cup so far. I mean, obviously, there's the chat now that Infantino's going to let Trump present the trophy to the winners, which is weird, because they're not inviting the Prime Minister of Canada or Mexico to do it. It's just him. And also, football, whether it is or not, it's supposed to be sort of apolitical. So by inviting him along, it's kind of making it something that...
Well, by giving him the Peace Prize in the first place.
The made-up FIFA Peace Prize. Because basically that came about because he threw the dummy out because he wanted the Nobel, like, because he thought he should just get it, and then he didn't. And then FIFA, that well-known peace organisation, said, "Oh, well, we'll give you a peace prize." Like, what the fuck?
I know. It's just very... It's babyish, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need to have this wee bauble, this wee toy. It's a lot of nonsense, but they go along with it because they're making money hand over fist. Especially with this tournament, because all the people involved are set to make an extra $250 million from the breaks, the hydration breaks.
Well, did you notice? I don't know if you watched the Sweden-Netherlands game last night, but the hydration breaks were getting booed.
Oh yeah, this happened in a few games. Yeah, it's because they've basically turned it into a game of 4 quarters now.
American football, essentially.
And they'll just keep doing that. They'll just say, "Oh, we need a hydration break all the time now in these big matches." It's just I think that's just going to be the way it's going to be, and it's ridiculous. It really is, because it's not a hydration break, because of a team talk, and the people have done analysis of it, and the number of goals that are scored right after the hydration break, because it completely spoils the flow and everything. It's just...
And then in the American broadcast as well, during those 3 minutes, they're cutting to commercial breaks, so it's just it's more money. Obviously, like the British, like the broadcast that we get, whether it's ITV or BBC you're watching a game on, they're not cutting to a break, but in America they are. So it's about selling, obviously, equivalent of selling Super Bowl space, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. They've worked out, based on the cost of an ad during these breaks, they're going to make $250 million in ads just from these breaks alone. That's additional revenue. The only reason ITV isn't doing that is because they are bound by laws in this country, or an agreement in this country, the broadcasting license, that says they can only do so many minutes of advertising per hour. And what they do is they have, before the start of a game, they have 2 sets of adverts. This program starts, well, the program's usually about an hour beforehand anyway, but in the hour that football's on, they have an ad, like about maybe 10 minutes before the match starts, and then another one 5 minutes before the match starts. And then they have it at half time, and they have 2 sets of adverts either side before it goes back to the second half. So they've already allocated their advert breaks for that. Now, if they'd known that, they could have
Yeah, capitalise on it a bit more.
They would have probably slotted in a couple in there in between as well, but they're not allowed to do it. But rules can change.
I can see that happening for sure, because I don't know what the European broadcasts are like, great enough. I don't know what their rules are, because I don't feel like European television is as advert heavy either.
It's
I don't think
different in different places, and it depends on the broadcaster as well, I think, because you see some ones like some of the Spanish ones, they just throw in adverts all over the place. And they don't even look at the content before sticking an advert in. It's just 17 minutes chop, and then they have an advert. And then I don't know how they're allowed to do this, but at the end of a program or a film, they just cut it off right at the end and just start the next thing. So with the rules that are here, like that, if you have a film shown in the UK, you have to show all of it. They have to show all the credits at the end of it.
Yeah.
And now some broadcasters like Channel 5 are trying to get around that by speeding the credits up. If you notice that, they just go
yeah, or they put them into the wee tiny box and show an ad for the next program. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but in the likes of Spain, they just cut it off completely and then just move on to the next thing. And then it's really, really strange, because I think they have more ads in there than we do. But having said that, when you've watched something on Channel 4 or Channel 5, even STV, it's brutal. It's really difficult to watch something. I just lose it. I just can't get into the flow.
I usually record and watch. Film. Because they cut it off, and I feel like if you've seen a film a few times and then you watch it because it happens to be on TV, they cut it off at the worst possible. It's sometimes like mid conversation, and then it picks up maybe like a scene after. So I do feel like you miss like a couple of wee sentences or whatever. Yeah, I don't. If I can help it. If there's something I really want to see and it's on a channel with adverts, I'll record it and watch it so I can buzz through.
Yeah, well, obviously I got that this week because I watched The Fabelmans and it was on ITVX, and that's every 15 minutes. You can see it when you look at the.
I've got the wee dots on the timeline.
The information's got the dots, yes, and Sky have actual wee gaps in there as well, so it's the same sort of thing, but at least with Sky, you don't get adverts during films. They just show the film. Yeah. They'll show you 2 minutes of adverts at the start and 2 minutes of adverts at the end or whatever, but you don't actually get it during the film, which is nice. And some Prime stuff doesn't have adverts because it says it's sponsored by, I think last one was Hyundai or something like that. They're proud, no ads, sponsored by Hyundai. Brilliant, yeah, great.
A bit of a contradiction in terms. Yeah. Oh god. I mean, it is becoming. I remember the first time we went to America, which must be easily like 20 odd years ago, and being amazed by the amount of adverts that was on the telly. But it's getting that way here, and as you say, on the apps, unless you're willing to pay for the sort of next tier, then. Which I must admit we do on Amazon, because the adverts were so annoying. Like it was like, again, cutting things off halfway through a conversation, a program or a film or whatever. So we do pay for the non-ads Amazon, but as you say, you still get it sometimes bookended by adverts. But I can live with that as opposed to, as you say, like splicing up a film, and it just takes you out of the experience. And do you know what? It makes it too easy to get distracted as well, I think, because you're like, oh, it's an advert, I'll just check my phone. Or I'll go and make a cup of tea, and then you're not in the flow of actually sitting down and focusing for however many hours a film lasts.
Yeah, we do have Amazon, but I've got the ad tier version of it. Well, it was really interesting because obviously when Netflix said we're going to start doing ads, they introduced a lower tier with ads, but Prime says no. If you want ad free, you have to pay more.
You have to pay.
I think Prime is the worst of the streaming services by far, basically because about half of the stuff that you actually see on your feed you have to pay for anyway. You have to pay extra for, whether it's a subscription, whether it's all these they come up new movies to buy in really small letters. I can so at least with the other ones, that what you're seeing is actually what you can
actually watch it. Yeah.
So, and I know Prime is really regarded as being a bit of a bonus for getting free delivery more than anything else. And it kind of, a lot of the times it works that way. It's just because there's just too much stuff on there that you can't actually watch. I find it really frustrating, especially because they own MGM, and yet if you wanted to watch Project Hail Mary, that's on MGM
That's a
Plus.
separate app.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the deal with that? It's badged as an MGM film. They own MGM, except yet there's this extra tier that you have to pay for, which won't do it any good. I don't think.
Is that the same with the Bond films then?
No, they are on Prime.
They're on Amazon.
But for some reason they come on them and then they drop off, and then they say they get added to the recently added pile as well. You know, new on Prime, and it's all the Bond films, and they're like, well, it was on there 2 months ago. Yeah.
That's weird.
And there's things like there's stuff that's actually been made by Prime, and yet the license is expired on it, and you have to pay for it. But they haven't even bothered changing the graphics to say, you know, only on Prime or anything like that. It's just, wait a minute, that's just nonsense, really, isn't it? So yeah, so I really don't like Prime, but I do have it for certain things. There's some stuff on it I want to watch, but yeah.
And do you know what, the delivery thing is a bonus? But I remember, I think it was last Christmas, I sat down because they announced, and I saw it on, I think it was like Facebook or X, all the Christopher Lee Hammer horrors have come to Prime. I was like, fantastic. I'll sit down, make a marathon out of it, watch it. It was like 1 was included, and then 2, 3, 4 you had to pay for, then 5 was included. And then, so it was like you weren't getting all of them. You were getting like maybe every third or fourth film that he had. Now, obviously, he's got quite an extensive Hammer catalogue there, but you were the notion that they were all coming to Prime was a little bit of a misnomer, because you had to pay for the vast majority of them, unless you just accepted the fact that you could maybe only watch 3 or 4, you know, included in your Prime. So some of the stuff that like that, where you're like, well, it's a series of films you'd maybe like to sit down and watch, you're not even getting the full run at the films. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's still some extra payment. Yeah,
it was the same. You know, the Netflix science fiction drama, The Three-Body Problem. They did. Well, there was obviously that came from a series of Chinese novels, and there was a Chinese series as well, and it was 30 episodes that they had, and they had it on Prime, and it was the same. They would have episodes 1 to 7 were on Prime, and then you had to pay for 8, 9, and 10, and then 11 was on Prime and things. And there was like real sort of gaps of 2 or 3 episodes all the way through it, and you're going, but then it would change, and they'd suddenly be available, and then they wouldn't be available, and you're going, what the fuck's going on here? It's just really weird.
This is why I do still buy like a big box set. I was looking at the Andor box sets as well, because Marcus, my friend, had bought season 1 Blu-ray, and it's gorgeous. He was showing me like the artwork inside, and although that's Disney, it's slightly different, but that's why I still buy even if it's a good series, I'll still buy the physical box set, because they can take a whole series off and you end up with like 1, 2, 4, 5, or as you say, episodes disappear or you have to pay for them. So if I've really enjoyed something that I've watched, especially a series, I will go and buy the box set if I want to go back to it, because as you say, sometimes bits and bobs of it disappear.
That is weird. It's a bit, well, now you very rarely get physical media. It's quite unusual. It has to be something that's really, really popular for it to get that, or a company licenses the physical rights or something. And with Disney, they tend not to do that because they're trying to drive everybody towards the service. Disney's one of the better ones that way. They don't take stuff off of their service. Whereas obviously the likes of like Warner's, HBO, they were pulling stuff off the service because they didn't want to pay the residuals, or they sold it on to somebody else. Because I got an email out 2 days ago for Coyote versus Acme, the cartoon that Warner's had canned, but they relented and sold on the rights to it as well. So they sold it wholesale. They don't have it. They just made money from it. From the sale, but they don't have to pay any of the residuals for any of the creators. That's owned by somebody else now, so it's now coming to cinemas in the next couple of months. Whereas obviously they've done that with a few things, they canned them, TV shows and all that sort of stuff. And some of them they did quite quietly and people didn't realise, but some of them were very high profile. Westworld has been sold on as well eventually, but they took that off, and the Batgirl one, and there was another one as well. It was a Scooby-Doo film.
Yeah, although that's getting made now. they've released images of Scooby-Doo this week, and it's an actual dog.
Right, okay. Wow.
Like, it's not it's certainly, it might be CGI, I don't know, but it looks like an actual dog that they're using, which again, I don't know, I feel like that kind of takes you out of it. It's like part of the joy of Scooby-Doo, I guess, is the sort of like loaded cartoonishness of it, and putting a real dog in and obviously making it talk. I don't know. I feel like it was like that thing I sent you guys last night, like the predicted big box office hitters for next year, and it's like there's just not an original friggin' idea amongst it. And then the stuff that they are doing, like Shrek 5.
I know. It is pretty crazy, isn't it? Like you said in that post that you sent on yesterday, nothing original about what's coming out. But like I countered, there are original things coming out there. And it's really interesting because especially these two films, have totally caught out everybody. I listen to the film cast, and every year they do a summer movie wager. So it starts first weekend in May. Usually it can vary, but it started this year with the release of The Devil Wears Prada 2, and it finishes
Which
up
I
September.
feel kind of sunk without a trace as well.
But I think it did okay, but I don't know if it did as well as. So it did a lot better than the first film. Put it that way. It was much more popular in the cinemas. But so they predict their top tens, and it's guys who they do podcasts, and some of them write and all this, and none of them had Obsession as a top 10 choice. Three out of the six had it as, they have these ones, they choose their top 10, and then they choose three dark horse options, and if that gets into the top 10, they get points for that. So it's all a points-based thing, and the winner gets, I think they get to force everybody to watch something or something like that. It's quite like that.
Yeah.
But there's a whole website behind it and everything as well that somebody's created outside of the organization. So it's entertaining because, like, the differences, but it can be like one place of a difference that they put Toy Story 5 can mean the difference between winning and losing, that kind of idea. So, but like I say, none of them chose Backrooms at all. That was just not mentioned. Three of them mentioned Obsession because they had just seen it just before they saw press screens of it, and it says, I don't know if this will make the top 10, but it's a really good film. And of course, it's kind of blown away everything that it's come up against. So even people supposedly with their ear to the ground are not getting this right. So it's very difficult to judge something. You can judge certain ones. So you're going to get Toy Story 5 up there. You're going to get Supergirl. There's Spider-Man. They're all going to be big films, no matter what. But it's these other ones that are coming in and nobody's really talking about, and then they hit cinemas and suddenly they're massive because the people that are making these films have a massive following, but that's not translating into any sort of numbers that anybody can match up against for previous work. So, it's kind of interesting. And obviously the downside of that is over the next 2 years, we're going to see so many shitey horror films that are based around these same sort of themes.
YouTuber,
Yeah, there's going to be YouTuber films, and there's going to be films about like haunted artifacts as well. The Make-A-Wish stick and all that. So you're going to get all sorts of stuff like that as well. And having said that, you could say that we kind of got that with Disclosure Day as well.
Yes.
The Make-A-Wish stick and that. So
yes, and also I've already seen there's a guy on TikTok who is inspired by Backrooms, and he's now started exploring abandoned shopping malls in the UK. And I thought, I've
seen that.
Have you?
I've seen what it's a guy who has been filming hidden places in Glasgow, and it's all sort of underground places and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
The
one I saw was like, I feel like it was like in the Midlands or something, but I thought, I bet you that, not necessarily his particular content, but I bet you that becomes a thing, like an abandoned shopping mall. You can see that working. They've done it in Stranger Things. They've obviously like that kind of thing. That'll become a thing. But then this is kind of the point, is like, this is where Hollywood seems to be getting it wrong. It's like Obsession and Backrooms have been these massive runaway hits. Word of mouth marketing has, sort of done the job there. So instead of learning from that and going, okay, people obviously are craving original content with maybe sort of like lesser known stars or, whatever, not Nepo babies, etc., etc. instead of learning from that and making more of that, what they're going to do is, people want abandoned rooms or they want crazy girlfriends. They're just going to hone in on like the sort of more surface level stuff of the film and shove 20 different versions of that down your throat, as opposed to people crave original content. They're not going to take that message from it.
Yeah, exactly. You get a film like Jaws, for instance, and you get there was so many films that came after that, and then before that it was disaster films. So you had a big disaster film, and then you just had a slew of, you know, cities falling into the sea or whatever, you know, things going wrong, planes falling out of the sky, you know, all that sort of stuff. So they just do things to death because it's just they don't look at, well, oh, that's quite creative the way we've done that. It's a case of, how can we make money from that idea without spending too much time on it? Because it's a business, that's what it's all about. I mean, you see it with everything. If someone comes up with a design for something, say a t-shirt pattern or other, you see knockoffs within days, you know, especially on like Temu and things like that. You see all sorts of stuff. Because there was one, what was it? There was something. Oh, it was one that 4 actors and they were wearing t-shirts with somebody's name on it. I can't remember. It was like a couple of weeks ago, and within 2 days, there was knockoffs of these t-shirts. It was at an award ceremony. I can't remember what it was for exactly, but within a couple of days, there was these t-shirts available in Temu to buy. You know, so it's just there's a distinct lack of originality, but that's always been the case, unfortunately, because you could point to any sort of seminal film and then you see knockoffs or taking elements of it, like they say, you know, the haunted toy or the, you know, whatever's been popular, and then they're just doing that again. And I mean, Hollywood had the whole industry. They had the B movies, remember? That was just just the same sort of thing. They just did it over and over. The one good thing about that was, because these were really cheap films and stuff like that, it brought in new filmmakers.
Yes.
So new filmmakers were getting a chance to do things with this because they were dead cheap as well, because they weren't having to pay a lot to hire them. So it did kind of push what was going on in terms of like actual talent coming through. But then again, you're getting certain talent, you're getting directors and actors talent come through, but you're not getting writers talent because it's just somebody that's knocked off an idea from 5 years ago or whatever. You know, the original, I mean, like the original idea for Backrooms came about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like pandemic-y time.
Yeah. So that guy, Ken Parsons, has developed that over maybe 3 years, doing all his short videos and stuff like that, and then came to the attention of people and said, "Oh, we'll put a bit of money into this." Oh, I can idea, but anything that follows on from that is just going to be, well, this is what they've done. So they're not putting, there's not the same amount of thought, there's not the same amount of creativity and all that, and it just makes things really boring. And I could see it from that list that I saw for next year. I was like, really, it's just more of the same, you know?
I feel the same. Nothing that I saw on that list made me go, I'll probably go. Like, it wasn't even like there was no excitement, there was no joy, and there wasn't even a, do you know what? I probably will go and see that, which is kind of how I feel about Toy Story 5. But that list, I'm just like, there's just nothing that's making me go, yay, that's really exciting, or oh, I'd love to see that, or, you know, there's nothing about it that gives me any hope. And that's what's so worrying is, and I think it does boil down to this notion of like, they're flinging stuff at you in the hope that like nostalgia will bite. So Devil Wears Prada, Toy Story, Shrek, all that sort of thing. They're hoping that they'll try and somehow recreate how people felt about the first or second or third installment in these particular franchises. But they're not getting the idea. They're just not getting this notion that people want to see original stuff. And by that, I mean truly original, not riffs on the same pattern. I mean like an actual good story that's not, because like we said in our podcast, I thought Obsession was going to be a particular type of film because we've seen that before, but it's definitely not. And that's why it's going to do so well. And I don't get it. Like, I know that Hollywood's in a kind of desperate place where they're competing in all these different fronts. Now you've got video podcasts, you've got YouTubers, you've got the streaming services, although there's now, I can't remember which streaming service it is, but they've signed up video podcasts as part, it might have been Apple. as part of your package. So again, you're competing with that as well. So I understand they're in a place where it must feel like they're fighting stuff on about 20 different fronts. But when they get cold, hard stats and cash that tells them this is what people want, why not listen to that? That's what I'm not understanding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. But it's the machine. It just does what it does, and it's always done it that way. So why change it? Because they still make a lot of money. You get the. I mean, there's always a lot of column inches dedicated to films that flop, but a lot of these films that they say flop will make money back eventually. They may not make what they wanted to make on them. You know, not every film's going to be $1 billion film, but a lot of them will not lose money because of
I mean, the whole infrastructure
behind it.
Yeah. For example, it's not doing as well as people thought. However, you've got idiots like me who will buy every single Baby Yoda piece of merch they can get their hands on. I've actually got two sitting on my desk. I've got a crochet one. There's the Baby Yoda blanket behind me as well.
Yep.
Like, it's going to make its money back through stuff. I mean, it's terrible, but it's going to make its money back through stuff like that, as opposed to, or even people buying tickets to go to Star Wars Universe in Florida, where you can actually go on the rides, meet the child, blah, 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 blah. Like, it might not have done as well as they hoped at the box office, but that isn't the end of that particular story for that franchise.
No, that slots very nicely into an existing franchise, doesn't it, that you can get access to on Disney Plus. And they're comparing, a lot of people comparing it to Solo as well, saying, well, it's only made the same amount of money as Solo, so it's a bit of a disappointment that way. But they don't take into account the fact that Solo cost an awful lot more to make than the Mandalorian film, because a lot of the stuff to do with the Mandalorian film was already there.
Yeah.
It's not brand new. They didn't have to do a lot of it from scratch. They knew a lot about all the locations they're going to be on, and obviously using the volume and things like that. So, and all the people who were involved were already there. They weren't having to hire a brand new crew, a lot cheaper. So therefore, they've got a lower threshold for actually making money. And then they've got this secondary thing where they're going to make loads of money on Disney Plus, because that'll be splashed across Disney Plus as soon as it comes out. The first thing everybody sees will be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. You know, see it here exclusively, and that'll just point people towards either keeping their subscriptions or actually getting new subscriptions. I think it's more holding on to subscriptions these days rather than new ones. I think a lot of these services have kind of peaked in that respect, but we shall see. It's very weird the way that they celebrate things and then just copy it to death. It really is. I don't get that. And reveling in people's failures as well. I don't understand that to some extent. I know it's different from being critical about something and saying, I don't like this. Here is why. Most of the time it's just, this is shite. And for most people, they haven't even seen it. And that's one of the reasons why it's not doing so, because people haven't actually seen it. And then you're telling people not to go and see it, you know? So...
And I think a lot of it is layered, because, like, as we'll find out during this discussion, I did not enjoy Disclosure Day at all. It comes from a place of, like, actual, like, as you say, like, film criticism. It's not coming from a place of just shitting on it for no reason. However, there have been examples, for example, the big obvious one being the way that Variety shat all over Sinners, saying it wasn't performing well at the box office. And many people felt that was layered in racism, because it was a Black-directed, Black-led film about Black culture, and it was actually performing very well. In fact, it's an Oscar-winning film. So they felt like they were sort of taking a shit on it because they didn't like the fact that, obviously, it was not a white film. Like, that's where film criticism is going, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was terrible the way that was done, and it got called out in a few places. And the Hollywood Reporter was one of the main ones that got it completely wrong. They had all these articles about it, and they keep doing stuff. I've read other stuff in the Hollywood Reporter, and it's like, what the actual fuck, you know? Are you actually they're supporting Hollywood films, or are you just looking for the quick headline? And time and time again, it's the quick headline they're looking for.
Oh, and that's that's the other problem as well, is that you'll see, don't get me wrong, gossip columns have always existed. We've seen it, like the 1940s, 50s, the kind of photo playbooks that they had about actors and stuff like that.
Yeah, was it Hedda Hopper and people like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that has always existed. But now, in this era of, as you say, clickbait headlines, it's all too tempting, I guess, to try and bring your numbers up for a month on a website to go, this film is a disaster and here's 5 reasons why, and just to, shit on something, because that will get you more clicks from people either agreeing or disagreeing than a thoughtful, well put together piece of film criticism, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you've hit it on the nail on the head there when you're saying about the headline. This film, they don't actually name the film in the headline. And they do that with all sorts of things. They just don't actually name, you won't believe what this person has done. Again, and you're like, okay, so it's a clickbait headline, right? So
even at a basic level, local titles will write something like "Major road closed in Glasgow for 5 days," and you're going, "What major road?" And you're hoping that somebody spoiled it in the comments because you don't want to click, you don't want to give them the numbers.
Yeah, you see that more and more. People just put in the comments to it, just saying, just to save you time, it's this road and it's closing at this time. It's just nonsense. It really is. It's that, and the fact that, see, when you're, I don't know about yourself, but when I am actually looking at something like a news article, and then it disappears, I don't know. I don't think it's just my phone. I think it's just the way that they've structured these websites. Just basically thrown all sorts of shit at it, and you can't. When you actually see an article written, you're probably talking about 120 or 130 words.
Yep.
And it's a big scroll, and you just get a sentence, and then there's 2 ads, and then you're thinking,
yes. And things flying in from either side, and you're trying to click them off, but the wee X is too small, and it's terrible. It's really bad.
Yeah. And I am assuming now that none of it's actually written by real people either, because it's the kind of thing that you don't need a real person to write this sort of shit anyway. So
somebody so it's quite funny, because I don't know if you remember a while ago, the Evening Times were advertising for AI assisted journalists, and you had to be able to use AI to obviously write a piece. So that's obviously the road that they're going down. But what's funny was, on the Glasgow subreddit this week, somebody took a screen grab of an article from the Evening Times, and it said "well caught," and at the bottom of it, do you know, if you ever go into like ChatGPT and it says, if you like, at the bottom it says, if you like, I can write this in a more formal, and it has they had left that on the bottom of the article. So they hadn't even tidied up their own AI assisted journalism.
Or you haven't even wiped away the slop.
Exactly. So and you're just going to see more and more of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and as it gets better, you're not going to be able to recognize it as quickly.
So unless somebody leaves the little boilerplate in by accident.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They'll always do that, because they're just hiring the cheapest people they can get to do these things, and they've got no interest in actually. They're there just to produce a bit of content. They're not actually there to do any sort of journalism, even though they may be. The chances are they won't be people who have actually got the qualifications in order to do that. It's just somebody who, although they're cheap to get them,
can use ChatGPT.
Can use a computer. Can use a computer.